and also sharing with us with all the examples that people can be blessed with in your life. I know it's just an hour meeting, an hour and some few meetings. So let's cut to the chase. And I know you'll be a blessing to us. Today, I know, what are we talking about? What are you blessing us with?
All right. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Brother Kaiser is a very good friend of mine. We've known each other way back, about 10 years, about 15 years encounter.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like a family business. I mean, when I meet him, my mother knows him, my brothers knows him. Through him, my brother was saved and all that. So yeah. I'm grateful for this opportunity to share with you. And yes, by the way, my wife actually met her through choreography. She was dancing. She was dancing in the church, and the way I saw her move, I said, "Oh God, this is what I want in my life." So it's just by the way. Okay, so I'll be sharing today on relationships. And unlike the usual relationship, when we say relationship, what happens or what goes into our mind first is boy, girlfriend, beloved. No. The focus of this relationship is how to succeed with people. How to succeed with people. So it's actually a 3-in-1 book. I pre-launched it last year, but I've not published it. So I've done several presentations on it. It's a 3-in-1 book actually that talks about leadership, relationship, and fellowship. So the leadership talks about how you can succeed with values. The relationship, how you can succeed with people, and fellowship, how you can succeed with God. So with God, all things are possible. But today I'll be sharing on the relationship aspect, how we can succeed with people. So I'll be sharing with us some few points. There's something interesting about the point I'm going to share. Sincerely speaking, I'd written about 7 points on relationship. Then I went back. No, I'd actually written all the points. Then I went back to look at it again, and I realized that I was forming the acronym relationship.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I now took my time and started focusing on the rhyming aspect of it, because I've written about 6 or 7, I think almost all the points. Then I went back and I realized that every chapter was talking about was spelling the word relationship. So today I'll be sharing with us a few points, about 10 points on how we can relate and relate well, or 12 points, yeah. And relating for maximum benefits. I mean, with people, relating with people for maximum benefits. Yeah. So that's just by way of introduction. Yeah.
That's good. So I like what you said. Relating, not necessarily relating a relationship that's leading to marriage, but our fellow human beings. And I think it's something that in this generation we need a lot. So tell us, basically, like what relating to one another means to you, or what that is. Since right now I know it's also a book that we should be also looking out for. I'll be looking forward to that book. But in the place of business, it's very, very important. Ministry, important. Home, important. So what relationship to you? How do you define it? Before we even go into how do you connect with people and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to flow, you can just flow along all those lines. And I know, yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity once again. And audience, you are so much welcome. And I'm grateful for making time to hear this little thing I want to share with you. In fact, to relate, you need to understand a few things. If you want to relate with people, there are so many things you must take cognizance of. Most at times, we want to relate with people on our own level. We want to relate with people on our own terms. Sometimes we want to impose the way our character traits are on people. And most of the time, it has really not helped us in relating. So I'll straightforward move to a definition I want to share with us. Now, I'm going to look at relationship, relationship. Now, I'll spell them out quickly. So the first thing I want us to look at, or I consider, or I suggest when it comes to relating, is the word R. The R in relationship, the R standing for recognize. So before you relate, or to relate effectively and relate very well, you must, number one, recognize. Recognize the kind of relationship you want to establish. Many people have messed up with God-given people that they met in their lives, because from the word on the onset, they fail to recognize the kind of relationship that God is bringing to them, or the kind of relationship that they want to establish with the people they meet. So there are people that you don't need to, they should have been mentors to you. You have downplayed them and seen them as co-equals. There are people who you should have never thought of having a love relationship with, but because of your inability to close your battle, you have ended up maybe messing up with them one way or the other. So the issue of recognize, the first aspect of a relationship is to recognize that this is the kind of relationship I want to establish with the person. And sometimes it takes time, but your ability to recognize that this is what I want to do. Meeting Brother Kaiser, it is a relationship that has to do with material gains, that has to do with work, that has to do with ministry, that has to do with, partnership. And meeting Sister Abena, I'm interested in Sister Abena, so I'm building a relationship that hopefully will lead to marriage, that kind of thing. So the English Oxford Dictionary defines the word recognize as the ability to identify from having encountered them before. Ability to identify from having encountered before. Now, simply put, to know again. To know again. So the word, like many other words, I call it a reword. When I say reword like words that begin with renew.
Okay.
Revive, restore, recollect. Rewords. Rewords are meant to be watched again. They are meant to be revisited. So to recognize means know again. If I use some biblical allusion, say, henceforth let no man know me what?
After the flesh.
By the flesh. So maybe you, as soon as you saw Brother Kaiser, or you saw Brother Eric, Brother Stephen, this guy is a door boy. Let no one know me by the flesh. Mean that you must really go back again and recognize, ask yourself, the way I'm seeing the person, is that who the person is? If you don't recognize the kind of relationship you want to establish with people, you would really mess the relationship up. Certain relationships that come our way, the truth is that some will take time, some will take patience, some will take diligence. But even if it should take you a year or a day or a week or a month, it is very important to recognize the kind of relationship you want to establish. Wow. Not every woman or every lady is meant to enter into a relationship, love relationship with you. Some are for your own good when you need help. Some are helpers. They are helpers of your joy. Some are advisors. Some are sisters. I, for one, I never had a sister growing up. We're all boys. So there were some women in my life that God gave them to me as sisters. When I want to ask about women and their behavior, I talk to them. And I never established a love relationship, no matter how they look and their shape and whatever. I had to make sure that. And it helps you to avoid a lot of mistakes. So recognizing is very important. Though it may take long, though it may, depending on your ability to recognize it, it will be even faster. What is important is that make sure you recognize the kind of relationship you want to have, whether a love relationship, a friendship, a leadership relationship, a mentorship relationship, a spiritual. There are people who need to take some people as spiritual fathers, but they're looking at their heights, and they don't have beard like me. They don't have. They're not big. They're not huge. So you, instead of taking them as fathers and relating to them as mentors, you are relating to them on Charlie, what's up? When you call them, hi, everything cool. you there, everything fine, and you are losing on a lot of grounds. So R is very, in fact, we can even talk about R the whole day, because if you don't recognize well, the others will be a mess. Yeah. I don't know if I can continue. You have something to say?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can continue.
After recognizing that I want to have this relationship with maybe Brother Kaiser, what is the next step? The next step, I believe, is to educate. Educate. You need to educate yourself on the relationship you have entered into. So now I'm in a relationship with Brother Kaiser. Now I need to educate myself on the kind of, if he's a mentor, if he's a spiritual father, if he's a friend, then I need to educate myself on the kind of relationship, how I must relate with him. Some people have lost fathers, the trust, the confidence, the relationship with fathers, because they related with them. They did not educate themselves on how to relate with them. So it's very important to, you see, relationship provides a schooling platform to educate the parties of acceptable and unacceptable practices, as well as do's and don'ts. So you must now educate yourself. Now, if I'm going to school, I'm in a relationship, academic relationship with the teacher. I'm not on a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with the teacher. Neither am I on a jolly ride with the teacher. You need to educate yourself on the kind of relationship you have. So, for example, you are going to school. Can you imagine going to school on your own terms? You can't go to school on your own terms. You are saying that, do you decide when you go to class? Did you decide when you go to break? Do you decide when you close? No. So irrespective of how you enjoy your sleep around 6 o'clock, and you must get to school at 7, you must educate yourself. Education can be formal and informal. That I need to get to school by 7 because 7 o'clock the bell rings. Class starts at 8. So in every relationship, we need to educate ourselves. What kind of education do I need? What kind of knowledge do I need about this relationship I have with this person? The do's and don'ts, the pros and cons, the things that the person, likes, dislikes, where the stones to step, where not to step. Education is very, very, very important. So once you recognize, you should educate yourself on best practices in your relationship.
Wow.
In fact, I must say that you should be ready to ask genuine questions if you want to educate yourself very well in a relationship. Don't assume. You should be ready to ask questions. I'm relating with you. Charlie, are you cool when I call you at 12? When I call you at 11? Text message, WhatsApp, call. Which one do you prefer? So education is very, very, very important.
Okay.
Now, I want to move to the next one. That is the L. The L says that there are levels in relation levels. Somebody will say, my level don't change. So I'll say that for level, if relationship requires education, I'm building up from the previous one. So if relationship requires education and can therefore be described as school, then there are levels or stages in every relationship. I repeat, if relationship requires education, then I can describe it as a school. And then therefore there are levels of education or levels, stages in every relationship. Every relationship starts from a nurturing stage through to a maturing stage before reaching the peak of deep affection and love. So even with the relationship with I remember last week after church, one of the members asked me a question concerning why Jesus and John was described as the disciple that Jesus loved, and I had to explain to him as a leader how I even feel about my pastors. Currently, I have 8 pastors, and I was telling him how I feel about my pastors. Some have developed a relation to a level that they can even come to the office and sit down with me and break bread and talk in pidgin terms and we put our legs on our table and talk and feel free. And it doesn't sound disrespectful to me. So relationships are in levels. So you need to build your relationship to that level. You must know the level at which you are in a relationship. So levels, they are, in fact, in this world, there are levels, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
There are levels in everything. It is not you who would come and change it. And you are forcing people to come down to a level that they've gotten to. One of the things I always tell myself, if I have a friend, a classmate, currently I'm the whole student president of my year group, or that year, 2 or 3. And irrespective of how we're close or how we used to make fun, there are certain meetings when we go to, I make sure I address them by their titles. Doctor, yes, professor, because he earned it, he deserves it. He wanted the name, that's why he wanted. So I don't allow familiarity at you go do, no. You must relate with people in levels. I feel like saying amen.
You are free to say amen.
Hallelujah.
Good. Yeah, I'm really blessed by that. So relating with people in levels, recognize the levels, the level that the person is in, and relate to the person as such. If there is any title ascribed to the person's name, I mean, it doesn't mean any harm if you add it to it. Let me bring this conversation in real quick, right? Recently, I met a woman that, in our conversation, in fact, he was supposed to write a note for me. Okay, no, not a note. Actually, he was supposed to just type in something into an email form for me, and in the process of doing that, he had written the doctor. So I was surprised a bit. I'm like, "Oh, you're a doctor now?" And she said, "Yeah, doctor of animals." So there I was confused a bit, because I mean, per my mindset and where I come from, okay, when somebody says he's a doctor of animals, you hardly pay that close attention to really go for, forgetting that I'm in a different environment, a different culture, everything looks different altogether. Then he took his time to break it down to me. Then I was like, wow, this is very intense. And the rate at which they are even rated the same as doctors in this part of the world, it will blow you away. And in the conversation, she insisted that I should add the doctor to her name. I was like, no problem. I'm really adding to it for you. So, and in my amazement, whilst we were standing, 3-4 people came by and they recognized her. They mentioned, "Oh, Dr. this, Dr. that." And I was curious. I wanted to know what exactly she did for them, that everybody was happy to see him around me, like having a conversation. I was like, "Oh, he took care of my dog. He revived my cat. He did this." I'm like, wow, this woman is really celebrated for this act, So from that day onwards, to be sincere with you, anytime she comes around, even if we are laughing, I'm like, "Hey, doctor this, doctor that." I mean, I had to recognize that relationship. So recognizing the level is very, very important. Yeah, you can continue, please.
All right, thank you. So we look at REL. Let's look at an A, or the A. So A is attraction. Kindly note that I'm not necessarily following a hierarchy, but
okay.
I'm putting up points that are very needed, or I think I consider paramount in relating well. It may sound like a hierarchy, but there are points that you should look out for. Probably the first 3 are basically hierarchies that we should follow. So A has to do with attraction. Many times we want to relate with people, but there's no, you want to relate to this person, but there's no point of attraction. There's nothing that is connecting the two of you. So I say that relationships are agreements constructed through attractions. So we both love God. I remember meeting Kaiser and going around KNUST, and I think it was truth behind hip hop. Going, all the denominations talking about because once the very moment I met them, we were selling books, and I was so much, enthused about the work. I love people who are loving God, who are serving God. So there's always a point of attraction for good relations. So relationship agreements contracted through attractions. These attractions can come in the form of similar ideas that both parties share: admiration of skill, talents, virtues, character, and other gifts that one party possesses. So you need to don't downplay the attractions that you have. It is as Mr. Kaza was saying that he never knew my wife could dance. It was this. If I tell you the story, you'll be very much amazed. I was out there on an educational. I'm a teacher, so I teach math. An educational stuff, something assessment for a UK and a Senegalese firm. So I was out for like 2 months, and I met her on a platform. By the time I came home, I made sure on the platform she was going to perform. Choreography in the church and music, and also with one of my favorite artists. So for 1 month I monitored the joy of going to meet a prospective shooter who can dance and is choreography and can write poems, which is like my major. It's like I'm doing a course in my major, and I have over 650 poems written to my credit as I then, and it was just joy. So that attraction pulled me after a month to go. Now the story has it that the program was supposed to start at 3, but normally we know evening programs. These church programs start at 6. So I left the house at 6 or 5:45 and got to the place at 6:30. When I got there, people had left. Everybody had left. People were leaving, and I've not met this woman ever in my life before. Yet still, I was still moved by attraction to go find out what really happened and how the performance went. So attraction is very important. It may be by skill, admiration of some skill, talent, virtues, character, some choleric nature that somebody admires, and you are there crying about your choleric nature, that you are this, you're that, you're some sanguine, some melancholic, some phlegmatic behavior that somebody like admires so much. So attractions are very important. So I advise that we build on the skill and the gifts and the talents and that which we have. I know money is good. And money can even connect. Money can even connect marriage. Money can connect friends.